Hey guys, welcome to NexGen HQ. My name is Cameron Hessen. I am a investigator and co-founder of NexGen Paranormal Research. Today I'm joined by Jimmy.
Hey, I'm Jimmy Delahaye. I'm an investigator and co-founder of NexGen. We also have Adam here.
Hey guys, this is Adam Johnson. I'm the tech manager and amateur producer for our wonderful YouTube series that hopefully you are checking out. So
we're excited to have you guys join us today. We're here to talk about NexGen Paranormal Investigation and our recent video that just dropped on YouTube from Whispers Estate in Mitchell, Indiana. It's a pretty cool location. Adam, you brought this to me a couple months prior to actually going to the location.
Yeah.
What drew you to the place, and can you give us a little bit of background on the location?
Yeah, so first of all, if you go on YouTube and search for Whispers Estate, there's just so much content around this. And really, when I'm looking for a location or I'm trying to make suggestions on where we should go, I really want to look and see what other teams have been there. Was it profitable from do they get a lot of interactions? And in addition to that, is it close to us, right? So we travel, but we're not going to drive 8 hours unless it's a full weekend adventure. So this one was relatively close to us. It was easy for us to get into as far as scheduling, and just the stuff I saw on YouTube was phenomenal in terms of the content. So it was really excited to get in there. So a little bit about Whispers Estate. If you guys have looked up the history on the location, you'll know that, again, this house was built in the late 1800s. It was home to Dr. Gibbons and his wife and their 2 children at the time. And he ran a medical practice for the town of Mitchell out of this home, effectively. So as far as the history around the home, we know for sure that there were 2 confirmed deaths. So Dr. Gibbons' daughter, who allegedly died on Christmas Eve due to a fire in the home, and then the wife died from natural causes upstairs in her bedroom. So I know we've heard of other deaths in the property, but again, we have really no way to confirm those. There's no documentation, so the only 2 we know for sure are the wife and daughter. So
now, if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a third possible death. 10-month-old Elizabeth, who I think was an orphan child that Dr. John and Jesse took in. What can you tell me about that one?
Yeah, so the child, the baby, ultimately, she was 10 months old, allegedly died in the upstairs room as well. And so the things there that you'll really notice is the property talks a lot about, you'll kind of hear a child laughing, or you can also smell the aroma of baby powder when you're upstairs in that room specifically. So again, back in that time, it's hard to find documentation to actually back that up. So we can assume that that the child died there, but we have nothing to back that up with currently. So
now, what are some of the claims that really allowed you to really want to research Whispers Estate some more, and for us to ultimately go out there?
Yeah, so definitely the name of the property, right? So Whispers Estate. So everyone is like, where did that name come from? So allegedly, throughout the entire home, you can hear whispers no matter what room you're in. So that was pretty drawing for me. And it made me think, okay, well, from an audio perspective, we can probably capture that relatively easily. So that was definitely one of the draws. And then also just some of the evidence that was coming out of that home was pretty crazy. I think if you look on some websites, it actually lists that home as one of the most haunted places in the United States. I would say it's, again, that's up for debate, but I definitely drew me in. Also seeing some of the videos on YouTube of doors constantly opening and closing in that home. That's crazy if you can capture that on video. So I was really looking forward to that. If you've seen our video, you'll know that we did not capture it, but maybe next time.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I think it would be good for us to go back out there. And then if you've seen the video, you'll know what we're talking about. If you haven't, stop this video, go over there, check it out. We're going to have a link in the description. And just comment, let us know what you think. Jimmy, talk about what we think about the location. What was your first reaction the moment we pulled up into Mitchell, Indiana, and you saw the house for the first time?
Well, of course, it didn't look like anything special, just a normal old Victorian house in Americana town. Of course, we did prior research before going there, and we found some more items in here that are going to be maybe not associated with the most scientific method of research.
I'm gonna stop right there, just so you guys can know. So we were filming out of a building that I have, and my father was here mowing, and just decided he wanted to open the back door. So if you saw me go, I'm just shushing my father. So, anyways, back on.
Your dad's a great guy, by the way.
My dad is a good guy. Shout out to my dad if you're watching. He just had his birthday. He's 62 years old. He's older than dirt. That's okay though. But anyways, to get back on topic, go ahead and let you continue on.
Yeah. The outside of the house looked pretty normal. It was when we went inside the house that caught our attention because, as a science-based team and factual team, we saw some items that could be associated with what people call like occult practices or things like that, such as Ouija boards. We saw some maybe some candles set up in like a ritualistic way. So that was a little different for us going into the location. But as an investigator going in, we have to remember this is only a brick and mortar home. So that's all that should be in there.
Yeah, and of course, I wouldn't call the candles more as a ritualistic. I mean, I don't think they were in there performing demon worshiping or anything like that. But I think it was used for candle scrying. And I don't want to like correct you or anything, but I just want to make sure that the information we're getting out there is not going to paint the home in a very negative light, because honestly, I didn't feel scared or anything in the home. You could tell there were some things there that if they were misused could have invited in some negative energy. But the time we spent there, I didn't really feel anything like that per se. The one thing I do want to point out is there was a room, which I don't know if we ever featured this in the video. There was a room upstairs in the attic.
Yeah.
We had our big experience. Just out of that room, there was a small closet space. You know what I'm talking about? That
Yeah.
was like covered in mirrors.
Right.
And it was a very trippy room to go into, if you could call it a room. Just because floor to ceiling, it was just your reflection. And you're seeing me right now. Trust me, that's not a good thing to see. I joke about being sex appeal and tech appeal, but
We don't have any of those.
we don't believe in
Speak
mirrors.
for yourself.
But no, it was a very cool room, and we did end up putting, I think it was Aaron in that room for a little bit.
Yeah.
Nothing came of it, but it was an interesting aspect to the home, and with it being billed as a paranormal attraction is the right word, I guess you could say, somewhere for people to come investigate. It is an interesting little thing to try and perform an experiment in.
It is, and I think, Jimmy, you pointed it out in the episode as well, is like that home had so many mirrors and they were all like facing each other, which, in the paranormal field, we're looking at that as like, is that creating a portal effect, right? I mean,
That is one of the theories, is creating a portal.
And yeah, that was the main reason I pointed it out, just so I could get it out there and make a point that this is what we're seeing while we're in this building.
yeah.
And so, Adam, what was your... Obviously, you had looked up the place. When we first walked into the building, what kind of vibe did you get? Because for those of you that don't know, we've been working with you over the last year or so. We believe you may have some ability to relate to or feel spirits or communicate with them in some form or fashion. So we're just kind of working on that. What was your first vibe when you walked in there?
I'll be honest. So when we first walked in, we were there by ourselves, which was very strange. I've never done that in a location before, right? So unfortunately, the owners or the people that are caretakers were not there. So when I first walked in, I didn't know what to expect because I was like, has someone broken in the house? Like, we don't know who's in here. But overall, from a strict paranormal feeling, I personally did not feel... It didn't feel strange. I did not feel out of place. I didn't really sense that there was like anything negative per se in the home. Like the energy just felt normal. I mean, I felt like I was just walking into another house. Now, as you start exploring the house more and you start going into like certain rooms and you're seeing all this stuff, I think it creates like an effect mentally because you're like, oh God, there's a Ouija board here. There's candles set up over here. There's like a shrine type thing over here behind a curtain. Like,
don't forget the haunted dolls that we found out later that were haunted. And
there's haunted dolls, and they're like, so they told us not to touch them after we'd already been exploring the house.
We were there for like 3-4 hours before they even showed up to tell us that.
Thank goodness, like we're, I wouldn't say we're smart, but we have common sense, and we didn't start touching random things. But anyway,
speak for yourself. I am smart.
Well, okay, allegedly. But anyway, so overall, the house just did not feel, I definitely didn't feel like there were spirits just trying to get at us or trying to communicate. So it felt pretty normal.
Well, I asked you that because in doing some of the research that I did come across that some mediums have talked about experiencing a large black shadow figure that they've dubbed the name Big Black. And so I was curious, like, if you were ever going to come across him or feel him, but there was nothing ominous or negative that I felt personally that I would give me a bit of a pause. And if you didn't feel that, you would have told us anyway.
Yeah. Now, also keep in mind that when we go to these locations, there's no like special trigger that we can make spirits, communicate or try to get them to act for us, right? So it could have just been the time that we were there and there just was no activity. I mean, that's pretty typical for us.
Yeah, whether you believe in spirits or not, they're not performers, they're people. So we just have to remember, if we go to a location, we don't experience anything, that's what happened with our time there, and that's the only evidence that we can provide.
Yeah. No, I mean, we did have like a couple, I wouldn't call them paranormal experiences. We did have a couple interesting incidents that happened. I think early in the episode, Jimmy and I are downstairs in the basement doing an EMF sweep. And then we get a call from Aaron, which is a very cool shot of me on camera here. But he had notified us that on one of our cameras, he saw the ball had been moved off of the bedpost in Rachel's room. Now, if you're not familiar with Whispers Estate, they do have two, beach balls?
Beach balls.
Stationed on each post of the bed. A little bit deflated on both ends, so realistically, they shouldn't just easily roll. It creates a nice little platform to sit on.
Yeah.
However, we don't want to call that paranormal in any way because a small breeze could have knocked that off, or someone walking down the hallway could have knocked it off, or even just like a slight vibration.
Yeah.
It's not the most structurally sound thing. Now, if it was something Velcro to the bed that just got pushed off, maybe. But it's a really hard thing to sit there and say, yeah, it's definitely a ghost. You did see me try and debunk it and jump up and down, and there was a couple times it started to fall on its own. So I was never prepared to say it's a ghost.
Now, could we please provide the point of why we don't have that footage in our video?
Well,
look, we're a fact-driven team, so we want to provide everything we can.
Be open and honest and transparent with you. So we use a DVR system to record some of our locations. That way, if we're not actively investigating that room, we still have data being collected in hopes of catching a shadow figure or getting some sort of audio to come. Well, we hadn't investigated in a while, and we were using a Blink security camera system, which had worked pretty well for us in the past. Still experimental on our end. And I forgot to pay the subscription for it. So we couldn't save any of that footage, and I didn't know it until that night.
Oh, jeez, I forgot about that.
I paid it that night, and I still couldn't get the footage, so it wasn't on the cloud. But, I mean, it did fall off, and I would have felt bad about not having that footage in there had it been a legit paranormal experience.
Right.
But being a rational thinker, there's no way I can sit there and say that's paranormal. And as a TV show we used to watch all the time, the TV show that actually got us into the paranormal, Ghost Hunters, as they say, when in doubt, throw it out. And that's something we continue to operate by.
Yep. And
something we will always operate by. Now, there was another instance that happened in Rachel's room, if you guys remember, about the doll that was sitting up. And we checked the body cam footage that you had set up to see if we could see where the doll was, but unfortunately it just wasn't in frame, which sucks because I hate telling you about this stuff and us mentioning it in the video and us not having the footage of it. But it's just something that happened. So, I mean, could the doll have moved by itself?
We don't know.
Possible, but it's still hard to say.
Yeah, it's just something we noted there. Just can't provide the facts on it.
And now let's go a little bit quicker in. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't really get any good evidence that came out of place. We didn't really get any good audio. Got a couple things that were interesting, but nothing that I'm confident enough to throw out there and say, this is paranormal.
Well, we did get the one, what we would describe as a growl. Adam, do you want to elaborate on that?
That's true. I forgot about the growl.
Yeah, we can debate on if it was a growl or not. I think, so in the video you'll see us, this is the point where me and Aaron are upstairs. I forget what that room is called, but...
it's like the upstairs foyer.
Yeah, it's at the very end of the upstairs hallway. And there's a stairwell that takes you down to like the kitchen area. But anyway, so Aaron and I are up there investigating. I'm sitting on the church pew that's up there against the wall, and then Aaron's kind of standing off to me, and then Jimmy's actually videoing at that point. And we hear a noise, which could be a growl, it could be an exhale. We're not really sure on the audio piece, but if you go back and watch the video, it's in there, and we improved the audio a little bit, so you can definitely make it out. But it was kind of crazy to happen, because that was the first investigation of the night. Like, that was our first time going out, and we immediately caught that. Yeah. And again, I don't know if it was paranormal, but it was definitely just something, an anomaly, I guess, that we caught. So
now that church view, I think hours later when the guys had showed up, which it's not we're not dissing the guys for showing up late. I think they had something come up and they couldn't make it there on time. But we had found out hours later that if you sit on that church pew, most people will feel like something touching you or rubbing up against your leg or anything. And I felt something similar to that, but I can't say it's a ghost in any way. Sure. I mean, I'm a man, I have leg hair. Leg hairs do things if the breeze goes by. I mean, it's hard to say, a ghost touched me. It decided it wanted to caress my leg. Might have been romantic, I don't know.
The only thing I'll say about that church pew is, I don't know if we can say it to respect the privacy of the owners, but there was a room behind that church pew that had some items in there that could have contributed to some of the activity in that room.
Now, speaking on that, do you remember what those items were for? Because we were very curious. To us, it looked like a shrine of some sort.
Yeah.
But we don't think it was, because we ended up asking
We did ask, and I'm not going to go into the details because it sounded kind of personal, but I think the items were donated from someone's mother, was what I gathered. So, again, I don't think it was anything like satanic or anything like that. I think
it was just a little scary when we pulled back that curtain.
Yeah, the way that it was set, like the configuration, the way it was set up back there, it definitely looked odd. And
one of the rules was like, don't go behind the pew or something like that. And so what could be back there?
That was on the rule sheet, but then we later found out it's because the floor wasn't like structurally sound. Yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, it's not because they're doing like rituals behind the curtain. So that's
this is why you should gather all the information ahead of time.
Absolutely.
That way you know going into what you're getting yourself into, and that way you don't fall through a floor.
Right. Absolutely.
We've been to a couple places where we actually felt like we were going to.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about some of the experiences that we had while investigating Whispers Estate. There was one experience that we had that I want you to talk about, Adam.
Yeah, so at this point in the evening, so it was myself and Aaron. We were upstairs in the attic, specifically in a room. As soon as you come up the stairs, it was to the left. They have it kind of set up like a bedroom. So there was like a bed in there. There was like a small couch. And it was an odd-shaped room, but overall it was just like a regular bedroom. Cameron, you were filming at this point. So we had probably spent, I don't know, I think probably 15, 20 minutes. You can look at the footage and look, but it's probably about 15, 20 minutes in that room investigating. Towards the end, I was tired and thirsty. So I was like, okay, if you want us to leave, make a sound. We then thought we heard something kind of faint in the distance, but it wasn't loud enough to, like audibly where we were like, okay, yeah. So I said, you're gonna do something louder than that. And immediately following that, probably 5 to 10 seconds, we heard a knock inside the room directly behind your head. Yep. You were sitting on the couch. Aaron and I were sitting on the bed. of course, I jump up and I'm like, oh, hell no, like, this is crazy, like, what's going on?
I want you to say it exactly how you said it while we were doing it, because
I don't think I can reproduce that.
Let's just play the clip of it. Watch this.
If you want us to leave and go back downstairs, I'm gonna need you to make a sound for me. Something I can hear. Oh, hell no.
Hang on. Wait.
Yeah, so as you can see, like I was clearly, it was so unexpected. Like, yeah, I was like, okay, we'll probably hear some form of sound, but that knock was probably the loudest thing that we've ever recorded, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and it was loud. Like, it wasn't like a little faint knock like that. It was right to the right of my head. I'm sitting on the couch, and the couch wasn't making a lot of noise because I was very intentional not to shift. That way it didn't pick up, and there was no like shaking the camera or whatever. But it sounded like that, just a loud knock.
I think in that clip we just showed, the microphone on that camera really doesn't give it enough justice on how loud that noise was.
No, I don't think so. I think, well, didn't you have the audio boosted or something to help out with that? Or
We did. So in the clip, if you watch it, again, we boosted the audio just a little bit, but yeah, all of our mics are very directional. So because it was behind you, it picked it up, but it was a lot louder in person. Trust me.
Yeah. I mean, all in all, it was a good investigation. I had a great time there. I appreciate you bringing it to us and letting us go investigate.
Absolutely.
But one thing, like, I want to know, as we kind of close this out, Jimmy, for all future investigators out there, what's one piece of advice you would give them if they are planning to investigate Whispers Estate?
Know your history. Know the location the best you can with the claims they have, and understand what equipment you have with you, and understand what you're trying to capture and how you're trying to utilize your equipment.
Very well said. I completely agree with you. Also, remember to pay your Blink subscription fee, so your footage actually shows up on the cloud.
Yeah, don't let that credit score go down.
Now, Adam, you're the tech manager. You know most about gear. What's for when we go back? Because I'm sure we will go back eventually. It's not far. What's one piece of tech that you wish we would utilize more, or something you wish we would purchase to utilize at the next investigation there?
Yeah, so for me, it's probably the eddy meter. So you guys will probably see this in an upcoming tech talk video that we're producing. But the eddy meter, it captures, really three main focus points as far as data. And I really think that as far as being a more scientific-based team, that's something that we really need to hone in on and really just purchase more of those so that we can really focus on the full location, not just one specific room, right? So when we talk about this house, it's three stories plus a basement, effectively. It would have been really cool to be able to correlate data points across all levels of the home, right? And I just think that is so important in the field, and especially for our team, because we are more scientific based.
Like, for example, talk about the correlation. Isn't there like one corner of the house that they claim to be a portal or vortex that runs all the way through that? So, I mean, if we would have had an eddy meter that's talking about all the way on each floor, recording similar to the data or similar spikes, then yeah, maybe it could be a vortex or portal, but at this point, it's just hearsay.
It is. And again, the room that we heard the knock in, allegedly the portal runs up through that room. But if we could have correlated something with that, right? So looking at those data points, we probably would have had a more, just a stronger case for what happened.
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up here at the NexGen recap show for the Whispers Estate investigation. If you haven't watched yet, link is in the description. Go down there, click it, watch the video. Shoot us a comment if you appreciate the video and our work. Our next video coming out is going to be sometime in October, and that's going to be where, Adam?
Poasttown Elementary in Ohio.
And that one, it was a very cool location that we went to. It's always interesting going back to like schools or something like that, just because it's not your traditional haunted location.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're looking forward to you guys seeing that. Keep an eye out for future content we've got coming the way. We've got some tech talk videos coming out, a couple other short form content. So just make sure you follow us, hit the like button, subscribe. and hit that bell notification icon to be notified for future videos. Signing out here from NexGen HQ, I'm Cameron.
I'm Jimmy.
I'm Adam.
Stay spooky.
If you want us to leave and go back downstairs, I'm gonna need you to make a sound for me. Something I can hear.
Oh, hell no.
Hang on. Wait.